Alright, what's up guys? This is my quick guide for my Skin of the Loyal Blade Vortex Pathfinder that I've been playing on Breach Hardcore. Real quick, I'm going to go over the core mechanics of the build, and then I'm going to throw in a map and talk about what I like about the build and what I've done with the character as far as content goes so far. So the build was pretty much planned and created entirely around the Skin of the Loyal chest, so if you don't want a character that requires this specific item, it's probably not going to be the build for you. But basically we're taking the chest and we're using it for a big DPS boost from the +1 all gems, and also to gain about 5,000 armor and 5,000 evasion over a regular ES CI chest. And then other than the chest, the only other uniques that we have that are required for the build are the Dodre's Damning Ring for +1 curse, Eye of Chiula for stun immunity, and Death's Door, which is being used for bleed immunity and strength. I do have a Scourge Claw, but I just got it recently. It's not required at all, and I would actually recommend using a Decay Dagger from the Essence of Delirium if you want to have better mapping speed, since that damage over time proc works a lot better for clearing trash. As far as the rares go, it's pretty much just get as much flat ES as you can. Flat ES is very important on your rares thanks to the 100% increased ES that the chest is providing. And this is where you're really getting a lot of your ES pool from. And then finally we got the flasks. Since we're a Pathfinder, they're pretty dang important, since every single one of these is adding really high defensive values, and some of them add some damage as well. So we got 3 unique flasks. The only one that's actually required to get the build started is the Adziri's Promise, since it's our main source of leech for the character. But the Roomies and the Witchfire are both very powerful as well, and I would recommend having them before pushing any sort of higher level maps or other end game content. The other 2 flasks we've got is a Jade Flask for the flat evasion, and then a Quicksilver for being a Quicksilver, and we do get to keep the adrenaline roll on the Quicksilver thanks to having bleed immunity on our boots. So that's the whole idea behind the build, how it works. I'm going to take a white strand map here, just throw it in, and show you guys what it looks like in action. So pretty much the only real downfall that I've found with the build is the clear speed's not that great. It's mostly due to how Blade Vortex is now compared to some of the top tier skills from the slower hit rate, but it still goes plenty fast in maps thanks to a really high amount of move speed and attack speed, and shield charge just being kind of broken. But if you're trying to race to like level 100 as quick as possible, you've definitely got faster options. Other than that, so let's see. When you're clearing maps, the character feels pretty damn near invincible. I'll show it in the comments or the description, a screenshot of my defensive page here, but I'm sitting at basically 10,000 armor, 20,000 evasion, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% block chance, on top of having Enfeeble and Temp Chains on Blasphemy. So you can just watch my ES pool while I clear this breach, and it basically hardly ever moves. Since we do have a bunch of flask nodes with the Pathfinder tree and a little bit on the regular passive tree, it doesn't take all that much to keep these flasks up all the time while you're mapping. But aside from mapping, I have also taken this character into some of the endgame content. I've done a bunch of Chiula Breachstone runs, and those go pretty well. You just have to swap in Abyssal Cry to help kill the rares. And I did do a few Shaper runs as well. Shaper is a bit sketchy, and honestly I don't think I would recommend trying it unless you're very confident in your ability, or if you have really solid gear like my character does, since the lack of surgeons type mods to sustain flasks, things get pretty scary when you run out. And I had a couple of close calls to say the least. Yeah, I also have done a bit of double beyonded T15 maps with the sextant things. Those went really well. Pretty much any map content where you're constantly clearing trash, the build is great for it, because I really feel like this is the tankiest character I've ever made, and you'd have to try really hard to die while having all your flasks on, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I think that's about it. I think I covered everything. If anyone has any questions, comments, whatever, just ask me. I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. And thanks for watching, everyone.